Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. This is a line from a song called No Role Models by J. Cole. This is so true. Don't try to save a girl. A couple years ago, maybe 3 years or 2 years ago, I was so desperate for a relationship, for a friendship with a girl, for something to progress and to be something else, that I connected with a girl that was just getting out of a breakup, and that breakup was so bad that she was desperate too. So I was a toxic rebound relationship kind of thing. It never actually made it to a relationship. Thank goodness it didn't, because she's a lot of trouble. So at that time, I was all in, and I was the only person that she was talking to. And I was so happy. I would be up till like 7 a.m., never sleep, just keep talking and shit. And at that time, being desperate and her being desperate too, I started to be like, maybe she likes me for who I am, which is not true. You are trying to fill a gap that she has because you're desperate. And she is feeding her ego with your attention. And in a situation like this, if someone is getting all this attention and all this care, why would I tell you to stop? I wouldn't, right? Only in one case, if you stop suddenly, which is something in psychology. You just suddenly disappear. This happens all the time, by the way. I didn't know because I was in a whole new world with my desperation towards having someone else in my life. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. As usual, press record and then we talk. A lot of background noises, ignore that, focus on what I'm saying. So, in these days, I remember that this girl, she's beautiful, she's stunning, but for some reason, a guy ghosted her. I didn't know why at that time. After I got ghosted by her, I realized that if he didn't do that, she would have done that to him. And he's actually smart. Like, I respect him for that. But at that time, everything you could ever imagine between a man and a woman in a relationship was happening in my case, except we were not in a relationship. We didn't actually hang out with each other, like me and her alone, never. We were actually friends with a group of friends that turned to be, all of them were bad. All of them were backstabbers. Even the closest people to each other were backstabbers. They stab each other in the back and they know it, and the weirdest thing is they still hang out. So they were a bunch of snakes, and because deep down inside of me I was afraid of the people, so it reflected back in my reality, because what I see in front of me is just the movie. The projector is inside of me. So I had problems I needed to solve. And I learned that afterwards within a few months. So with that being said, I remember at that time I was trying so hard to make that chick happy that I became miserable. I would just be always afraid about her, caring about her. I was so desperate. Looking back at it right now, I laugh. Because first, I was still young, I was still learning, and I didn't know that much about the mentality of girls with certain situations. Because you still learn, you're still having experiences and circumstances that you gain experience from. So at that time, I was the only person in her life, and we would talk, and I would feel happy. And probably she actually felt happy too. And to the point that I was so appearingly trying to hint out that I'm desperate, that I want her, that all that. I'm thinking with my lower parts, if you know what I mean. And at the same time, I care. So upper as above, so below kind of thing. And that happened. So fast forward a few months, she was a friend of the couple that I was trying to fix things between them. So, kind of connected here if you watched the previous videos. She was going out, me, her, and that couple, to solve the problem, per se. And when that happened, another person came into the equation. He's younger than me, but at that point, he was just another guy. Let's try him out. And that guy, all of a sudden, the conversations became more dull, more cold. I became, anxious. What's happening? Something is happening. I didn't connect that she's talking to him, but she was. They started to have a group chat. I'm not in it. So at that time, I was so kind of afraid that I might lose my spot there. Looking at it now is kind of funny because why would I care about these folks? They're just a group of backstabbers. Per se, they are just thieves trying to steal from each other the joy, kind of thing. So, yeah, that happened. And fast forward, I remember the last time I went out with them, one of my friends, like these people, plus one of my friends, that actually was their friend too, came with us. And at that time, I haven't seen him from years. He was abroad and he came back, so it was a warm hug to that guy, because I missed that guy. So we sat down, we talked, we hang out. This guy drops me here in my house with his car. And since that day, since that very day, I didn't know what happened at that time, but suddenly all these guys went out of my life. Like, suddenly, all of them. A few months after, I knew that my friend is now dating, or pretty much engaged to be married with that girl that at one point in my life was everything, per se. I was a kid, so take my word with a grain of sand. So, is it right? A grain of salt, sorry, not a sand. Whatever. So, he became in a relationship, got into a relationship with her, and the couple that I was trying to fix things between, they got back together, and they told me thank you at least, but at what cost? They left me with a whole bunch of questions that I don't have an answer to till today. And that extra friend, that extra guy that was younger than me, is still with them. So the problem is not me. Not at all. They are just ungrateful, selfish people. Because looking back at me at that time, I was desperate. And being desperate meaning you are selfish to have things. And when the projection or the projector inside of you, inside of your brain, your unconscious, your subconscious mind, is telling you that you need that thing, you will start to see it in your reality as something that you are desperate for. You want this, you want that. You are running after it. And when you run after something, it runs away. That's where I actually realized the world attract, don't chase. That's it for today.